According to research by Sanlam, 75% of South Africans do not have a will. Nearly half of those who don't have one believe they don't own sufficient assets to make a will worthwhile. And the rest, well, they admit that they simply have not got round to writing one. The law provides that if you die intestate, which means that you die without a valid will, your estate will be paid to your family according to a set formula. While this may sound sufficient, it's an administrative nightmare and it starts major family fights. It also significantly delays the winding up of your estate, which could take years. By having a simple will in place, you can decide how your assets will be distributed, which means that you can provide for your loved ones in the best way you see fit. For most middle-class families, the primary home is the most valuable asset in their estate, as your retirement funds actually fall outside of your estate. It's not uncommon for parents to leave the family home to their children. Yet without a properly constructed will, this legacy could create a financial nightmare. The first question is whether the property is yours to bequeath to your children. There are many cases where spouses may be separated, but they're not divorced. In this case, the marriage regime would still apply. So, for example, if the deceased was married in community of property, the surviving spouse effectively owns half the property, and only the half that belongs to the deceased can be bequeathed to the children. If the property is not sold, it must be transferred into the heir's name. If you plan on bequeathing the property, do you leave the property to one child or shared equally among all children? This is an important conversation to have with your children. What if one child wants to live in the property and another child wants to sell? Are all the children able to pay for the running costs, or will it fall to one child to pick up the bills? And then there are the costs to transfer the property. Can your children afford to pay for these expenses, or have you left enough liquidity such as life cover to provide for the costs? It's worth having these conversations as a family, because the last thing you want is a legacy to create financial complications for those you love. And the best way to do that is to make sure you get that will in place.